That's what she said. And you know what? What was that? Okay, James.
So I've been living in Spain for about 4 years, and I've experienced a lot of culture shock. Of course, in the beginning, it was the whole how restaurants, they don't serve dinner until 8, everything cooked in olive oil, and even how a lot of fish and meat, their heads are still on the table. So this video is on a topic that is so, not even just culturally shocking, but annoying. So in Spain, the banks close at 2 p.m. Not 5, not 6, not 3, not 4, 2. And what's frustrating is a lot of people work from 8 or 9 past 2, so they can't go to the bank. And then also university students, a lot of us can't go to the bank because we have morning classes that run into afternoon classes. So that means you can have a bank problem, but may not even be able to go to the bank because it's closed. So in the States and probably some parts of the world, you can ask for a doggy bag when you finish food. Meaning your food's put in a little box, you can bring it home, eat it the next day or whenever you want. But in Spain, anytime I ask for a doggy bag, I get such a weird look. The thing is, it's not like I didn't like the food, I'm just full and I don't want to waste the food since I'm paying for it. And still every time, even till this day, some waiters look at me a bit funny and it's just like, I just want to bring my food home. I just want to bring my food home, that's it. I don't want to waste it, I just want to eat it, but the next day or so. So on this topic, we're going to talk about renting in Spain. Now, what I've learned is that the laws in the States and when it comes to the laws in Spain are very different when it comes to if you're paying your rent on time or not. So in Spain, technically, when you sign up for a 1-year contract or whatever length of time, if the person living in the apartment, let's say, doesn't pay, well, the landlord's kind of screwed until the contract's over. But in the States, it's not like that. If you don't pay your rent for 1 month or you're super late or you're not paying anything at all, they can actually kick you out, breaking the contract since you're not paying. So once I learned about that, I think that kind of explained why it's so, not difficult, but complicated as a foreigner to rent here. Now, besides the drinking age and how it's super known as a party country, here in Spain, they really only ID you when you're entering in clubs. What I mean is that at bars, I have never been ID'd at a bar. However, in the States, as we know, we have to be 21 to drink. Even at 21, I get ID'd every time I'm home and every time I ask for a drink. So to me, that was a culture shock before turning 21 and after turning 21, because here, never get ID'd. And obviously, since we're in COVID times, the clubs aren't open, so I really don't get ID'd at all. Now, I'm not complaining, obviously, but it's interesting and a bit of a shock because what if you're 16 and you're drinking here? To me, that's like, wow. When it comes to vacations in the States, we are very selfish at giving vacation. In the sense of usually you get about 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the year, while in Spain, most companies, most jobs, most everything gives the whole month of August off. Yeah, the whole month of August off. All Spaniards basically go on holiday and have a great time. And then they also have Christmas and all these other holidays. Come on, States, come on! But I think the most shocking for me has ever is actually been the supermarkets. Besides how there's different types of markets for fish, vegetables, produce, whatever, you can't buy medicine in the supermarket. See, in the States, typically a Publix, a Walmart, a Whole Foods, they have a medicine aisle, so you can buy your painkillers, your cough medicine, bandages, whatever. But here, in the supermarkets like Carrefour or Mercadona, they don't have it. You have to go to the pharmacy and you have to ask them. So in this one, I want to talk about languages. So yes, obviously in Spain, the national language is Spanish, but fun fact, in the United States, there is no official language. Now, yes, of course, the majority spoken in the United States is English, and then it goes to Spanish and Mandarin. But what's really interesting is that in the States, the language of cursing, a lot of it is frowned upon, in the sense of it seem as improper or not appropriate or in that, bubble. But in my experience in Spain, every person I've spoken to or met to, usually at the end of every sentence says a curse word in Spanish. And it's pretty much sociably acceptable, which is fine, but strange, when you're speaking to adult and the word they say begins with a J-O-D-E-R or something like that. So it was a bit of a shock that how Spanish people can be more vulgar than those from the United States.
Driving in Spain, you get your license here at 18, or like in the States, you can technically start driving around the age from 15, 16. Kind of messed up. We can't drink in the States until 21, but we can drive. So here I've actually done the theory and the lessons here, but in English, and the theory is actually quite hard, the exam. I have failed about 3 times, and I'm going to retry again, but it's much harder here than it is in the States. Because in the States, you go do your drug alcohol test, which is a 5-hour test, and then for the driving, you just literally go with an instructor, and that's it. Pretty easy, not like here.
I've been living in Spain for 4 years, and my health insurance, Sanitas, is 80 euros a month. 80 euros, which is $97. When I was living in Florida, I paid $400 a month, and I still had to do copay. So about 2 years ago, I ended up in hospital in Spain because I had basically an obstruction in my intestines. Great. I spent about 3 days in the hospital, in my own private room and everything, and with my health insurance, Sanitas, I didn't have to pay a dime. Nothing. Not for the medicine, not for the visits, nothing. And the best part is Sanitas never argued with me about if I was in dire need or not. Well, if I was living in the States, I would have to argue with my insurance to at least cover some of the hospital stay, so I wouldn't have to pay up to $30,000 for 3 nights in the hospital. This is why American healthcare sucks.